I would assume like the day before Gasparilla, I can just see the mayor standing there like, all right, tomorrow's the big day. Here we go. Everyone on your A game. What's
Um,
the vibe? I bet it is like, it's
I
crazy.
think it's more like our team is like that. I wouldn't say the mayor's like, okay, it's
No,
tomorrow.
the
Like,
mayor's like having fun throwing
yeah,
beads.
no,
Everyone else at the city's freaking
we
out.
are all like, okay, who's manning the car? Who's throwing the beads? Who's doing video? Who's doing photos? Who's like on duty of untangling the beads? Or I don't know. There's so many things, but it's crazy. It's
I'm
fun
sure
though.
it is. It's worth it.
No, it's definitely cool. And to be on the other side of it, like being from Tampa and everything, going every year, and then to be on the other side of it, walking in the parade and being with the mayor's group was like surreal, I feel
So
like.
you're from Tampa originally.
I am. I'm from Tampa. So, fourth generation born in Tampa, fifth generation to live in Tampa.
Amazing,
So,
cool.
yeah, last of a dying breed, I've heard. um,
Well, there's
so,
so many new people here in town. We are a rare breed
yeah,
for sure.
for sure.
So what's your Tampa name? Your maiden name?
So my family are the Mullins. My great great grandfather came over here from North Carolina to be the manager of the Evening Times paper at the time. The
Cool.
evening, because there was a morning and an
Right.
evening. That's when newspaper was cool. Then my great grandfather was then born here, and his brother Harris Mullen, and rest is history. They both were into publishing. My great uncle Harris Mullen, he started the Florida Trend magazine, which is still going on today. It's different though. He,
Mm-hmm.
sold it. He's since passed. But my great grandfather Charles Mullen is still alive, 103, almost 103 years old. Lives in assisted living on Bayshore. So
Wow.
yeah, very cool.
That's awesome. That's really, really cool.
No, it's
So media was kind of in your family.
a little bit. So when I think about it, it was like we had publishing and printing in the family, and my great grandfather was an excellent writer. But then my grandma was a nurse. My mom's an accountant. Like no one else really in the family after that pursued journalism or media at any time. And then I don't know like why I decided I wanted to do it, but I just did. Like there was a
Yeah.
part of me that just wanted to go into storytelling. And when I was in college, I thought that meant that I needed to be a on-camera journalist.
Right.
I thought storytelling meant I had to be a reporter. Well, I found out that's not what that means. Like you can be a storyteller in so many different ways um, than having the unglamorous job of being an MMJ is what they call them now. So
So many ways, right? I mean, especially today with social media. Like we're around the same age. I think I'm a little bit older than you. I was born in 92.
okay, I'm 97. So
So
yeah,
so like growing up, I mean, I think I first got a Facebook in high school. Like I remember as a kid, my point is
right.
before social, obviously. And I feel like back then, as a kid, when you think of reporting and media, any sort of media, it's like newspaper, print
Right.
advertising, marketing, and then there's like the journalism, the on-camera journalism. So is that something that you kind of in high school started to get into social media and thought, like, was this a whole grand scheme of how you became in charge of Grime Fighters for the city of Tampa?
It was definitely not planned. In high school, I did not do anything that was like I wasn't on the morning show. I wasn't in yearbook. I did take a journalism class, but I really wasn't into that. I was more into like sports and whatnot. But once I got into college, then I really like buckled down. I had a million internships. I interned at Fox 13. I interned at Bay News 9. Um, just like really buckled down on that. And it's weird. Like I liked the aspect of being on camera and telling people stories, but I'll be honest, it's just not like a glamorous thing anymore.
Hmm.
When we were younger, being a reporter was very glamorous, I think. They used to have makeup people and they used to get paid probably pretty decently. Well, I don't think that's the case anymore, as I've learned. It's a hustle and it's a lifestyle, and I didn't want that lifestyle. So I interned at the city 5 years ago now, about in the marketing and communications department. And that's, I think, when I realized that I could do storytelling and I could be that voice, but not in that traditional setting of
Mm.
you're on the news. And graduated college, always kept in touch with the folks at the city in that department. and just kind of waited for my opportunity to come. They don't come often. And I went into the traditional marketing sector. I worked a really basic marketing job like analytics, SEO, web development, but with some social and some storytelling and media thrown in there. And when the city job opened up, I was like, this is it. This is my chance.
And you jumped in.
Yeah, like I hope that I get it. And I did.
And
Like
off air, you said in that particular department, there was what, 2 employees?
there was like 2 or 3. Yeah. So it's
and now
crazy.
there's around 10.
Like, yeah, there's like 8 or 10. And I think we're growing it. Like, I would say we're definitely growing. Like by the time we're all done.
City of Tampa has how many followers now? Probably 50, 60,000, maybe more. More than that. Which is phenomenal. Off camera. It's like phone a friend.
Yeah, for sure. No,
there's it's just insane that you were there from the beginning. So that department that you interned in was like the city's media.
Yeah, I think they were still called.
Is PR included in that?
So at the time when I was an intern, there was one person that kind of handled all the PR, and the marketing communications did more of the social as it was just starting. My coworker Angie has been there since I was an intern. She was also an intern before I was, but she got the job right out of college, and she's still there. She's still now my actual official coworker. So she kind of started it from the ground up almost, I feel like, in a way. And then we had a graphics person, which we still do now. They actually had 2 graphics person, because I think at that time there was also a lot more print graphic going on. But now we have graphics people. We have Danielle and Angie who are social people. We have video people. We have someone who does PR. She's our media manager. We have a director of marketing. So we have a whole team now.
Amazing.
It's crazy. Yeah.
That's awesome. It's probably so important too. I mean, I would imagine how a lot of people find city resources obviously is online, whether it's a special trash pickup or information about a code issue or something like that. I feel like media and the internet and the city's website combined is like the virtual city resource in a sense. Like you don't go in person necessarily anymore. Right. I'm sure there's a million resources you can find on social. There's the Grime Fighter on Instagram. See it, Tyler, on the bottom right. So this is what you are in charge of, right? This particular
So this
program.
is one of my little projects here. Yeah, so.
There you are.
So this is one of my little projects. I guess the way it happened, I did not come up with this idea. Like Grime Fighters, in a sense, wasn't my idea. I started in January, like I said. And my coworker, Angie, had talked to some of our PIOs in different departments, public information officers, and they were trying to find a way to highlight some of these like unsung heroes or some of these dirtier jobs. And I believe it started with wastewater, because that is kind of, I mean, honestly, it's probably the grossest department when I think about it.
I would agree.
So Angie was talking about it. She was bringing it up. And I went out there and I was like, listen, this is like, we got to dirty jobs this. We need to make this like a micro thing, very tough, serious. I kind of acted it out like how we should do it. And so she was like, all right, great. So you're our host now. I'm like, all right, well, I guess like I can do it. If you want this, I will do this for you guys. I'll be the host. Well, went out there for our first shoot, which was, I think, the day after we talked about this. Like it was not planned that well.
Oh, wow.
And it was not like rough and tough like I thought I was going to be. Like I envisioned I was going to go out there and be this like really serious, like, oh, boots on the ground. Well, obviously I'm not. I'm a little bit more of a girly girl than I thought. Show up in a pink vest, a neon hat. I could not like keep up with these guys. Our very first episode was the grease in the sewers. Big hotspot is 7th Avenue in Ybor. Obviously, there's tons of restaurants. I did not know what I was signing up for. Like it progressively got worse and like grosser as we were out there, just stinkier, and like the visuals were nastier. The roaches coming out of the.
Isn't that good for your content though?
It's
You're
great.
like, yeah,
well,
extra
no.
dirty.
No, it is great for the content, but I like wasn't expecting it at all. Like I knew it was gonna be gross. Of course, it's like grease, but I don't know.
That's crazy. It surprised you too. It was your idea kind of to go out and do a dirty jobs thing. And you're like, wow, this is really dirty.
No, for sure. Because, I mean, it makes sense now. I'm thinking about it. Okay, they're greasy sewers. They're going to have like roaches and stuff. Well, okay, but now, like, when they pull open the manhole and there's, like, hundreds of roaches just, like,
Oh my
crawling
God.
out, yeah, it's a little creepy and scary, and then they
Shocking for sure.
the worst part, though, is, okay, so they have this special truck that does this. They put this line down the sewer, the manhole, when they push water through it, and then when they suck it all up, the water and the grease comes up.
Mm.
Well, they're rolling the thing back up, the tube, and there's, like, fecal matter just, like, smeared on the tube
Oh
as they're
no.
that and grease and just, like, everything
And a
gross
lot
you
of
could.
other stuff from
Yeah.
7th Avenue.
No, everything gross you could think of just coming back up with the line, they call it, and I'm like, "Oh my god." I almost lost it right there. I was like, "I'm gonna throw up." Kept it together, kept my cool. Next shoot, we did cleaning graffiti, which was 100
Oh
times
yeah.
better.
That's a clean, dirty job.
Yes, exactly. So that's the thing with these grime fighters. There are some really gross ones and there are some that aren't so gross, but they're ultimately all, and something I've really tried to talk with the team with this is there needs to be a grime involved when we pick these episodes. So
Mm.
with the graffiti removal, the grime is the graffiti. With the code enforcement, the grime is the furniture and stuff that's in the lots. The grime fighters are the guys that go out and clean it, and ultimately I've become a grime fighter as well. I don't know how much of a help I really am to these guys, but I get to work sometimes. Graffiti removal, I was able to paint. I help pull the manhole covers off. I push buttons on the truck. They let me
Yeah,
assist
you're
like
there.
that.
Hey, you're showing
Yeah.
up.
So
But I think really, really important, and Tyler, if you go back to the other post about the illegal dumping site, it's right there on the right. Someone commented, "Can y'all come by my neighborhood? There's always trash everywhere, and sometimes the garbage trucks just don't show up on the specified day." That's the goal, right? Is to build that awareness so members of the public and the people that live in Tampa can see what you're doing and either
right.
call I guess this would be code
Hmm.
enforcement. Hey, there's this illegal dumping site. Like the goal is the outreach, right?
Yes.
So have you guys seen an increase in people reaching out on whether it's social, email?
So I don't know if there's been quite an increase, but I will say we've always had a really strong, one of our missions in social media for the city is customer service.
Mm.
And I think our team's also always done a really great job with that. When we get DMs in and when we get comments in, we try our hardest to respond to every single one of them, to be that voice. If they want to get customer service through social, we're going to be there to answer them. So I don't know if there's been an increase since Grime
Or probably
Fighters.
not measurable.
Right. Maybe if we like looked into it for
Right.
sure, but there's definitely been education for sure. Like the code enforcement, you can request for the garbage men to come pick up stuff.
Mm.
I didn't know that. Like I thought you had to go drive it to a dump yourself. No, you can actually request them to come get it. They do add it on to your trash bill,
Hmm.
but I mean,
Special pickup, right?
yeah, how much
Yeah,
easier?
I mean, I only found that out because I was remodeling my house and I
Right.
had to get rid of, I think it was like a couch and then some cabinets. You can't just leave that on the side of the road.
No.
And I think they picked it up and it was like $70 or
Right.
something.
So
Like
it
it was an awesome
exactly.
city service, but I had to dig up and find it.
Exactly. So that's definitely part of the series. I think we're for sure educating. One of the biggest things I learned with the code enforcement is, okay, so you hire someone to come do your dumping for you, to come take it to the dump. If they don't take it to the dump, and instead they illegally dump it, it doesn't matter that they did it. It's still your stuff and you're still responsible for it. So if
Oh,
code enforcement finds out that it was yours, it doesn't matter that you hired someone to go take it. You're still responsible for it. It's your stuff. So that was kind of eye-opening for me because I feel like that probably happens
I would
often,
imagine that happens
right?
all the time.
Yeah, find someone on Facebook that's willing to take your stuff for $50. They probably pocket the 50 and
50.
then just dump it somewhere.
Well, on the code enforcement video, it talks about an illegal dumping site. Like there's
Yes.
places in the city
There's
people
known
go
places.
specifically to dump garbage.
There
It's a
are.
horrible thing.
Unfortunately, there are places that people have found they won't get caught right away, or they think that they're going to get away with it. So there are sites that in that episode, I was interviewing Officer Joseph, and he knew, like when I told him I want to do this episode with him, he had locations that he could pull up that were known illegal dumping sites. So
Now, what's his name again?
Officer Joseph, Amicho Joseph.
Officer Joseph. He looks like a
Yeah.
pretty serious dude. He's got the badge. I mean, he looks like a police detective.
Yeah, well, part of their job is a little bit of like detective work.
Investigating, yeah.
Yes. So we didn't go too far into it in the episode. This is going to sound kind of weird. But you know, like when serial killers like write books about like how to get away with it or whatever, we didn't want to
Ah,
do that. We didn't want to teach people how to get away with illegal dumping.
it's probably a good call.
Right. So we didn't want to tell them the things that he looks for to find out who dumped it. Because if we tell everyone what he's looking for, then they're going to know how to get away with it.
It's really horrible. This is across from people's homes.
Yes.
I mean, this is in a neighborhood.
Yeah.
Kind of a sad
Yeah,
thing.
this was in the Sulphur Springs neighborhood.
It's probably not your question to answer, but why don't they just stake out these locations and catch people? I'm sure they do.
Yeah. I think it's part of it is just like how can they just sit there all night? Like, I don't think it's super realistic for them to just all be sitting outside sites. I do know that they do on like certain sites where they have control. Like, first of all, is it a city site? Are they allowed to just sit there? Like, or is this someone's
Right.
private property? They have set up cameras and surveillance on some of the known ones. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Don't dump your illegal trash, people.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
sure.
Plus, code enforcement, they have such a big job, right? Like they're worried about what building codes and new construction
Oh, yeah.
projects and making sure things are constructed correctly.
Yeah, there's so much more in code enforcement than just, the
Illegal
illegal dumping. And
yeah.
actually what Officer Joseph does is where his job kind of ends is after he does his investigation, he'll submit a report to the police so that they can fine the people, literally fine, like FINE, not fined, because you do get a fine, you get a ticket if you're known for illegal dumping. But then also he'll call another truck that unfortunately we weren't able to get footage of it that day, but it's apparently a big claw truck.
Oh, wow.
And it goes and it picks up the trash and like disposes of it.
Just picks up the
Yeah.
couch or whatever.
Yeah, I guess it's like I haven't
amazing.
seen it firsthand. I can't wait till I do get to see it, but I guess it's just like a big claw in it.
There's
Yeah.
so many, it's so interesting to me the way a city operates. Like, obviously, this is all funded by taxes, right? It's like, is the answer just to hire people to stake out those locations? Like, have you had any ideas of your own going through this job, seeing all these different departments take care of their, grime? Have you thought of any ideas like, gosh, we need another guy to stake out these locations? Like, is there anything that
Right. Not really, honestly. Like
you're just overwhelmed? Like, holy shit, look at these roaches.
there's right, no, for sure. Part of it is that it is just a lot, and there's so many intricacies with all this stuff, I think, that people don't realize. Like, you mentioned funding and stuff like that. I don't know how
Yeah,
all
it's
of the
complicated.
financial pieces of it for sure. But then
The
also
city's budget was what, $1 billion? I think 4 years ago it hit $1 billion for the first
Wow.
time, which is so insane.
yeah, but also think about like our city is huge. So I didn't realize how far up. Like we'll go to locations sometimes and like this is still the city? Like how how can we cover the whole area,
That's such
like
a good question. Like, how is the whole thing even manageable?
Right.
It's a miracle it all works.
Yeah. No.
Really.
for sure, like absolutely. And a lot of things like you said, like how it works, how like things even get fixed. Part of that is like people just reporting it. Like we said, it's such a big city, so we can't just know everything. So we do rely on people reporting things wrong, like the sewers and stuff like that.
Well, that's the foundation of a
Right.
society is
Right.
all the people living there kind of helping each other out.
Right.
Hey, this guy's illegally dumping garbage in my yard. I mean, you almost want everyone to be on the same page. I think that's
Absolutely.
why this program you are doing in particular is so important, and just the social media in general, is it provides a place for everyone to kind of come to one spot. Like
Right.
that lady mentioned, hey, there's people, illegally dumping garbage in my neighborhood. Like, if she didn't have the time to scroll social,
Right.
see the City of Tampa post and comment, what is she going to do? Take time out of her day to call the city and
Right. No,
wait
she's
for
just
an
going to
operator?
ignore it. Yeah.
Exactly.
It's going to annoy her and she's going to just,
So
ignore it.
I think at a bare minimum, this is really, really cool because it provides that place for everyone to go. It's almost like
Absolutely.
in a weird way, the town square. social
I guess,
media.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, in a way.
And I think as it grows, it will become that. I
Oh,
mean,
for sure.
social's really only been around, I mean, not even 10 years heavy,
Hmm.
really. I don't know when the Instagram page was opened up, but I mean, not really more than 10 years.
Yeah, no, I'm sure it hasn't been. I know 'cause when I was an intern, like we haven't even always been City of Tampa. We used to be at Tampa Gov.
Did you have to buy City of
I
Tampa?
don't know what happened. Honestly, I don't know. I think it was tough for them to get
Yeah.
City of
You
Tampa.
had to pay some guy like 15 grand to
I
take the
don't
name
know. All
over.
I remember is when I was an intern, it was Tampa Gov, and then shortly after that, somehow it became City of Tampa. So yeah, it's hasn't been that long, but there's definitely, I mean, the graffiti removal.
Yeah, go to that. Scroll down,
That
Tyler.
guy is
Oh,
like
no, it's right there.
one guy tackling the graffiti all over the
Like,
city.
how is that even?
So that's a good point though about people reporting it. That's how he goes and gets his assignments is people report the graffiti and they go and clean it up as it's reported.
And then you
So
have this lady, Karen. Her name is literally Karen. I'm not
oh,
hating on Karen's. My mother's name is Karen. She goes, I like much of the graffiti. Don't paint over it. It's pretty, please. So you get
yeah.
when my grandfather was mayor, he was like, yeah, I could pave the streets in gold and people would complain that like the light hits the gold and shines in their eyes. Like you're not going to make everyone happy.
Yep.
I guess the goal is just to try to make what most people happy. It's
For sure.
and then with the graffiti, right? You guys can only touch city property.
Right. Yeah,
So you
no.
can't go and hit the trains, right?
Not that I'm aware of, no. Yeah, so all of these are like this is under interstate. Electrical boxes are a big one that they get a lot of.
And it's
So
one man.
yeah, it's like this one guy. He goes by the name Easy. I don't know his real name. He wants to be kind of like under the radar because it is true. He's cleaning up graffiti that might have some relations to other things, and he's out there by himself. He doesn't really want to be known as the guy cleaning up the
It's probably a good call.
yeah. So he was a super cool guy though, for sure. He let me get to work. But yeah, like if people don't report that stuff, how is he gonna? He can't just drive all over the city all day and find everything. So.
Is the main source of reporting, whether it's trash or graffiti, social media, or do you guys have like an official?
Different online websites. So I think for the graffiti, it's like tampa.gov/graffiti or something like graffiti removal. We have on all these social videos, the vertical, shorter versions. We also have horizontal, longer form versions. We store them on our YouTube, and eventually we'll have a page on our website for them. So in that one, I know that at the end it says the website. I think it's tampa.gov/graffiti or something like that.
So
but
there is a process.
yeah,
You can officially
Yep.
report something. That's good. And then
Yeah.
on YouTube, is that the city's YouTube or is that?
Yep, City of Tampa YouTube channel. We've gathered them all in a little playlist called Grime Fighters, obviously. So
That's
we
awesome.
have
Tyler,
four.
pull that up real quick. The YouTube, City of Tampa,
Yeah, City of
Grime
Tampa.
Fighters.
We have 4 so far. 5th one filming tomorrow. Might be our grossest one yet. I'm a
Can you
little
reveal
anxious.
this won't release till Friday. Can you reveal the?
I can reveal it. So I won't get into the details of it, but we are going to be with, I guess you can call them screen scrapers. These unsung heroes are screen scrapers. And
Doesn't sound so bad so far.
so far, long story short, they rake the screens that are in the wastewater tunnels to unclog them.
Yeah.
So
I can imagine those get quite dirty.
yes, all I'm picturing is like wet wipes, and I think there's a term called like fatbergs that they use, which are like big piles of all the junk and stuff gathered. So I heard it's gonna be gross. I was in an email chain about it regarding my PPE that I'll be wearing, and it sounded
Hazmat suit.
basically they were like, we need a disposable suit, a mask. She's gonna need like basically 10 items that they're gonna have for me to wear. And then they forgot about my videographer. I'm like, oh, well, Ryan too.
Yeah, he's got to be protected too.
Yeah, they did also mention fall protection. So I don't know if I'm
Oh.
like going in some kind of tunnel, or that's another thing with these is sometimes I don't really know like what I'm in for, right? Like code enforcement, illegal dumping. I kind of knew what I was in for. Waste to energy plant. I had been there before. I knew what I was in for, but the greasy sewers, I had no idea. This next one,
That's this one,
screen
right?
scrapers.
The one that's playing now?
Yes, this was our very first one.
Man.
Very first one. We really kind of planned this like the day before we went out and shot it.
There you are, pressing buttons.
Yeah, so then that's when they put all the water into the sewer. These guys are great. Like, love them, I think.
Man, thank God for these workers.
Right. Well, and I asked them, I'm like, is this not like gross to you? Like, how do you do this? And they're like, someone's got to do it. And that's become
that's
kind
their
of
attitude.
That's become the line of the series now, is someone's got to do it, because it's so true. It's like someone has to do it, and I don't know if I would say they feel passionate about it, but it is a sense of pride, I think, for them that they go out and tackle this.
Wow.
I think the one gentleman on there had worked with wastewater for like 18 years or something crazy.
Amazing.
Like, yeah. So
way before there was this TV show.
Right. Well, and then this,
doing it without anyone watching.
Right. No. And I think part of it, I will say, like, one of my favorite things about this series that I've realized is when I go out there, and I say guys because so far it has been all guys. We haven't had a lady grime fighter yet. I'm sure we will. But at first they're like, what in the world is this chick doing?
Right.
She's coming out here in a pink vest. Yeah. She's like, usually has her hair down. She's wearing makeup. But then as I like break their shell down, they have so much fun. Like, they love it. I don't know if you can tell, but I feel like they love this.
They look like it.
They have fun with it.
Who asks them questions like you're asking?
Right.
Like I saw you ask them about, why do you have to clean it out every 14 days? The grease trap. And it's, well, the city's liable if we don't do it every 2 weeks.
No one ever asked them why they have to do it.
Yeah.
No, this is true.
That's
for sure.
awesome.
Yeah, this, I asked, I actually don't know if I came up with this question, but we were asking the graffiti removal guy, Easy, does he get frustrated when he cleans a graffiti up and then the next day the graffiti's back there?
Right.
And he said, no, I look at it as job security.
Oh my God.
So
these guys have awesome attitudes.
Right.
That's surprising.
No,
to
they
me.
really do. Like, these are some of the nicest guys ever. They're so friendly. They, I think, really enjoy what they do.
God,
for
that
sure.
makes it so much sweeter that these guys at least feel that responsibility and have a sense of pride, because the reality is, man, someone does have to do it. Literally, if we have to have these city services in order for us to live in a nice place.
Yeah.
If these guys weren't out there doing it, who the heck would? So the fact that these guys are like, well, someone's got to do it. We're out here.
Yeah.
I got job security.
They're not bothered at all.
Does the city have a hard time finding guys like that? It seems like they're already in place.
I will say, most of the time when I go out to these things and I talk to these guys, they have worked for the city for so long. So it's very rare that it's like a new guy. So,
really?
Yeah.
I mean, 18 years, that's a career.
Yeah, no. And that might, sometimes it's 18 or a certain amount of years that they've worked in that position or in that department. But then they're like, but I've worked for the city for like 30 years total. So
just moving around, different. Yeah, that's amazing.
For sure.
So the next episode, you are going to be cleaning those screens.
Yes.
And then in the future, you mentioned that you're going to be getting your own website.
Yeah, we're going to make a page on the tampa.gov website that will eventually house all the Grime Fighters episodes with some descriptions and some more information on how you can help and how you can report. So it'll take some time to build out for sure, but I think we're just happy with like how this has gone. Mm-hmm. The first thing we thought when we started this was, are we even going to have enough content? Are we going to have enough dirty jobs? Yeah. Turns out there's plenty of dirty jobs out there in the city that people have to do. So we're not too worried about that. We already have other than the one we're doing tomorrow, we have like 3 or 4 others already just in our idea book, like ready to go. So there's a ton out there.
And are you reaching out to these specific departments?
Yeah, so it's kind of a team effort. Sometimes I take the lead on it or some of my other coworkers do, but it can be tough. So there's so many employees in the city. There's so many departments. And so to find the guys that go out there and do it can be a little tough sometimes. So it's just phone calls that have to be made to department heads to figure out when, where, and who. And usually we'll like reach out to a department, send them some of the Grime Fighter links so they know what they're signing up for, and say, we're coming for you guys.
Right.
What can you give us? Where are y'all going to be?
Is the attitude from the department heads like, oh, don't bother us? Or are they
No,
more,
they love it.
yeah,
Yeah, so it's been really, if anything, this has been great, I think, for just our internal marketing effort at the city as well.
right.
I've had people, other coworkers at the city that I've never met before. They'll be like, "Oh, I've seen your Grime Fighters. I've seen you. I love your episodes." Like I had one woman. She was like, "I was scrolling Instagram at night and I saw it, and I love it." And we also put it in some of our email marketing things that we do. So
That's so cool.
yeah, the people at the city, I think, really like it. If anything, I think the people that work at the city may even like it more than our external audience. I don't know, but
Maybe, yeah.
it does really well internally for sure.
I'd imagine it would be interesting as a city worker to watch it.
Yeah.
So for Gasparilla, you have to do an episode of like the aftermath, Grime Fighters Gasparilla edition.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's already July. So hopefully if Grime Fighters is still chugging along by then,
Oh,
which I think it will
be.
be. I think it will be.
Absolutely.
Then yeah, no, because there is some cleanup effort that goes into that after that for
Oh
sure.
my gosh,
So,
a ton, right?
yeah.
A part of I noticed in the last few years, there's been a big push by the city for everyone to clean up after themselves. There's been
Yep.
more toilets put in place,
Right.
more trash cans. And they're all full super quick. Gasparilla, I'm sure, is a tough one to deal with as
I'm
a
sure.
city, but every year they seem to clean it up pretty quick.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's kind of it's one of those things like I feel like Gasparilla like goes up real quick and it comes down real quick. It's like within a week, it's like Gasparilla was here and then it left.
Yeah.
But there's also a lot of volunteer organizations that help with that. I mean, Bayshore is a long stretch.
Right.
So I know that there's a lot of different teams that help with the effort of getting Bayshore back in order after Gasparilla. So
And your position at the city isn't just Grime Fighters.
no.
Right. You do
No.
other things at work too.
Yeah,
right?
I do Grime Fighters like I don't know, maybe like 5-10% of like my overall job. So I also do videography. I'll be on the other side of the camera sometimes too. I'm not always my face on camera, that's for sure. But then I also help with the media and the PR side of the city. So my boss is the media manager in the marketing and communications department, and I gotta get to help her out as I don't know, almost like a little assistant PIO in a sense. I do help with social occasionally, but my coworkers Angie and Danielle are like our social queens. They're amazing at what they do. So videography and the PR media is my main job. But
Yeah.
they do like to throw me on camera pretty often. I'm always willing, like, I'm never going to say no.
It's too late now.
Yeah, I'm
You're
never
the
going to say
host of
no.
Grime Fighters. You can't say no now.
No, I can't say no. I know that my videographer for Grime Fighters, he isn't too thrilled about the screen scraping that we're doing tomorrow with the wastewater, but like we got it. We have to do it. Like these are
That's gonna
guys
be a
that,
good
like
one.
guys do this. They need to be highlighted. These men like have to be highlighted that they do this.
Well, and you need to build awareness like, hey, don't
flush wet wipes.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yes, that's the biggest thing, and we have kind of a larger idea for this one as well. That's gonna hopefully be turned into a little bit of a media release and whatnot on the dangers of flushing things down the toilet.
It's so hard for people to understand. You're just at home and you flush it and then it's no big deal,
Right,
right?
right.
But I think if more people realize I'm creating a problem for someone else and they see the person
Yeah.
physically cleaning it out, hey, that's my wet wipe that guy's cleaning. Maybe people wouldn't flush their wet wipes
Yeah.
and flush all the
Right.
other stuff they
All
flush.
well, and that's the biggest thing. Like I am curious about when we go is, yeah, we're all assuming okay, it's just gonna be wet wipes,
Right.
but I'm gonna ask them,
Oh, yeah.
what else do you find in here? Because I'm sure it's not just that, and I think part of it is also people don't think they're doing something wrong. Like the wet wipes say they're flushable, but they're really not. Like, so I do think it's some of that people just not knowing they're doing wrong, like the grease in the sewers.
Yeah.
That accumulates, and the reason it's a problem is because of restaurants and Ybor, they're supposed to maintain their own sewer traps, but I think sometimes it does get out of hand, or sometimes something happens. But the city then has to clean it, because then if it overflows, what the guy was telling me is then the city's liable. So the city didn't dump that grease, the restaurants did. But if it overflows and it causes an issue, then the city's liable anyway. So I don't think it's people trying to like cause harm. I really don't. I just think people don't know. So
Well, life, I think, especially since the advent of Amazon and social media, life is easy in the sense of you kind of forget the people that are in between you and the product or the service. Like on
Sure.
Amazon, or if you get groceries, you click a button and it arrives
Yeah.
at your door. Well, it's the same thing with flushing a toilet. Like you just think you flush it and it
And it goes
magically
away.
disappears.
Right.
It doesn't. So tomorrow you're going to reveal exactly what happens. I think that's great,
Yeah.
though. I think it's great to build awareness. But I want to go back to the media for the city in general.
Okay.
I feel like a big part of a city's job is to advertise themselves to get people to move to the city, businesses to invest in the city, stuff like that. Tampa's just blown up like crazy. Like
For
we're
sure.
both natives, we've seen the
Yeah.
growth. Um, has it been almost like a wave of people and you guys are trying to manage it, or are you still actively advertising around the country? Hey, come to Tampa, invest in Tampa. Like, what's
So
the vibe?
So in terms of our city's social, the way that the girls have explained it to me and like how our department manages is there's different things that our social should do, like our mission. And I mentioned the one is the customer service. Um, one is also just like tourism fun things, but then the other is education. So there is that tourism where we are trying to like advertise Tampa, come to Tampa, but it's not our main job of our city's social by far. Like customer
Mm,
service and educating, like what Grime Fighters does, is really what we focus the most on. But there's definitely that, we do love to do our fun tourism, come to Tampa content. But then we also there's Visit Tampa Bay, and there's other companies that do that, and that's what they're paid to do. So we do get to have some fun with that, like come to Tampa. I think that our the girl that runs our city social, Angie, what she's explained is we usually will get like a increase in follows during big events like Super Bowl,
right,
Taylor Swift, stuff like that. And sometimes those do dwindle away after because the Super Bowl's over. Why do I need to follow the city anymore?
right.
Um, so there are influxes like that
Are
where
you
we'll
guys
get
keeping track of
large.
those analytics?
Absolutely. Yeah. So analytics plays a huge part in what our social media team does for sure. They do a report every month for
Oh, wow.
us. And it's impressive for sure. But I don't think it's become like uncontrollable
Mm.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, 5 years ago, I feel like we weren't necessarily on the map, and then we
Right.
got Brady, and the
Yeah.
Lightning won twice, and we had
Right.
a Super Bowl here and won the Super Bowl, and obviously the development pattern.
Everything.
It's just crazy what's
No, it's
happened.
crazy. We've done recently a little bit of a comparison on how our social stacks up to some other cities that have
Mm.
population sizes like us. And we actually had one of our interns kind of help us put together the presentation. And I'm not going to like toot our own horns or anything, but it basically is like we're doing a kick-ass job and we're like at what we do with population sizes like we have, we're like the best at what we do for
Amazing.
sure.
That's
And
awesome.
so for me to be able to join the team in January and be a part of the team that's like honestly the best at what they do is awesome. They win awards.
Kill it.
Angie and Danielle were both just at government social media conference and they won like best Instagram presence or best something presence, and then also best communications during a crisis from the work during the hurricane. So like
That's
crazy.
another thing I
Yeah.
wanted to talk to you about is disasters, whether it's a hurricane or an emergency. If an emergency does occur,
comes, right? Yeah.
that's, I'm sure, big for social media. That's how you can get people's attention
Yeah.
immediately.
So like fortunately, I haven't had to do it yet. I just started in January and we haven't had like anything, but I have told the team that I am like a little anxious, nervous, but I heard there's some excitement with it with if we do get like our first storm of the season. Fingers crossed it doesn't happen this year. I would love to just like be there for a year before being thrown into
Yeah,
the
get your
wild
feet
of
wet,
it.
yeah.
Yeah. But I've heard it's a wild time. Our team does go to the emergency response center. So we're all hands on deck during that. If there's a storm, we're there. Take turns sleeping.
Yeah.
So
Well,
a big job.
what was the big one that hit? It was supposed to hit Tampa directly, and then it curved. Was that
Ian. Was it Ian?
Was it Ian or Irma? Irma was a few years ago. Both.
Both.
God, it was pretty crazy to watch the
Right.
city. You had like the
Yeah.
fire, the police, the mayor was up there, Hillsborough County. I mean, it was
was
like
crazy.
a joint effort.
Yeah.
But a lot of it was on camera, preparing everyone, public outreach.
Right.
Is that like rule number one when you guys kick into high gear? Is like let everyone know what they need to know.
Oh, absolutely. And it's preparing ahead of time. So like right now we're already starting I mean, we've already started with our messaging
Yeah,
on
when is storm
Alert
season? It's
Tampa.
coming up, right?
We're already in hurricane season, but I think peak season
It's
either
like September.
starts very soon or yeah. So we've already began that preparation of telling people to sign up for Alert Tampa and to get your stuff ready now, prepare, get your kits. So it's definitely a big effort during this time of year in Tampa for the team.
Yeah, people need to realize it's not entirely up to the city to save you.
Well,
Like it's
yeah, like we can't control the
it's a
weather.
lot easier if we all prepare and get the water we need and stock
Right,
up on supplies. It makes y'all's life easier.
for
That's for
sure.
sure.
Absolutely.
Ed Sheeran too. He was in town.
Oh yeah, Ed Sheeran, Taylor coming for 3 days. Taylor Swift. I'm like
You
talking
guys
about her
went
like
pretty.
I'm her
You
best
guys
friend.
went heavy on that.
Yeah. So we kind of jumped on the bandwagon there a little bit. That was definitely my coworker Angie's like brainchild. We resisted for a little bit, I think, just because we were
There's
like,
Angie winning an award.
yeah.
With
So
that
there's
picture.
Angie and Danielle.
Look at that. The
Yeah.
government
Social
social
media.
media awards.
Yeah. It's a really
Who
cool
would
thing.
have thought? I would
Right.
have never guessed that there was an
Yeah.
award for government social media.
All these different government agencies are there, not just cities, but also like fire, police, things like
Wow,
that.
best Instagram presence.
Yeah.
Some pretty serious awards.
Absolutely. And so, yeah, like I can't, take all the credit. I just started in January and social's not even like the biggest part of what I do. So being able to jump in the team and help as I can and it's been really fun.
That's
for
so
sure.
cool.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So, man, the Instagram page is so broad. I feel like you guys do everything from disaster preparation to Taylor Swift to government news, the mayor getting sworn back in,
Yep.
all that sort of stuff. Is there anything you don't have that you'd like to add to the media team?
Like a little aspect that we could maybe do a little more
Yeah,
of.
like the next project, or it just seems
So-
like it's really dynamic. Things are
Yeah,
changing all
so
the
something
time.
I was just kind of trying to pitch was we were talking about Grime Fighters and we were talking about how there's like a limit to it because there has to be a grime to be
Right.
fought. So there's certain things we cannot do. Like I can't go out with certain departments because they don't have any grime. So the next thought I was like, maybe we could do like maybe not me, but maybe someone else on our team. But if it is me, like a Hannah tries it where I try everything at the
Yeah.
city. So I could try to be like a rec leader. Probably not going to be fun, but I'll try it. Try to like do the financing department. I don't know, things like that.
I think that's a good idea.
I've also definitely, I think that our team wants to do a little more of like showing the faces of Tampa. We've even chatted the other day, Angie and I were chatting about maybe when it gets a little cooler out, seeing if my great grandpa would want to do like an interview of some sort. I mean,
Oh, that'd be
he is
cool.
103 and he's lived here his whole life. So something like that, those kind of stories of Tampa from the people's perspectives.
Was he born in Tampa?
Yeah, he was born in a clinic that is now University of Tampa, but it used to be the Tampa Bay Hotel. Before that, there was a clinic there.
Wow.
Yeah, so 103, so 19. Oh, what is that? 19 like
Something. That's crazy though. What a perspective your grandfather has. Wow.
Oh, it's
103.
crazy. Yeah,
Man.
different.
The
One of the things,
growth.
the growth for sure. Like I think, I don't know if I'd say it's growing too fast for him, but I think there is a part there that's probably a little scary for sure. I mean, even you're from Tampa, I'm from Tampa. I used to you wouldn't go to downtown and hang out, right?
No.
That was not a thing. Like we would not just go to the bar in downtown. There wasn't bars. It was just where people worked.
Yeah.
Now downtown is a super cool place to hang out. There's places to drink, there's places to eat, there's places to hang out. Like I'll definitely go to downtown for happy hour. But when I was a kid, there just wasn't that there. So
When Mayor
tons of growth.
Castor was first elected in 2019, she said, "This city is going to change more in the next 10 years than it has in my entire lifetime."
Wow.
And she's so right.
Yeah.
I mean, think about, especially in 103 years, but
Absolutely.
even our lifetime, I'm 31. It's been crazy to see downtown, the growth.
Yeah.
I mean, we've shifted from, I would say, a more definitely, I hate to use the word dirty, but man, Tampa in the 90s and in the early 2000s, it was just a little bit of a dingy place. That's just the truth. Maybe all urban areas were. I
Right.
think the suburbs were more popular.
Sure,
People are moving
absolutely.
into the city. That helps too. But it's shifted so much in those few years, and especially in downtown. There's just so much growth, and I only think we're going up. So
Oh, absolutely.
I think for you guys to put that out there and expose it is amazing. And I think as more
Yeah.
people move to the city, they're going to want a resource that's official, They're going to
Yeah.
want a place to go for these updates.
Absolutely.
And I think the Grime Fighter thing is amazing too. I don't know. I'd imagine if you move to a city and you're like, oh, this place, the government has it together. I think that's
Oh,
like a
yeah.
good thing to
Oh,
feel.
for sure. Like, I would definitely
It's
say,
comforting.
yeah, and like we have fun. Like, I feel like we're a very relatable social page in a
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, you got
For
the
sure.
Barbie thing. I mean, all the trends,
I
like,
don't know. Was that you, Danielle? I think that might have been Danielle. Yeah, that was Danielle's.
but you're nailing it. I mean, you guys are freaking nailing it. I love to see it. It's awesome. And it's comforting too. You, again, like the government, people pay a lot of taxes to live here, and you want to know that people are doing the right things, and especially the dirty jobs.
Oh, absolutely.
Sweeping the streets and the trash, and those
Yeah.
are all extremely important things.
Right.
I've talked to a lot of people. We're in residential real estate. That's what we do for a day job. So we talk to a lot of people moving here, and a
Mhm.
big reason people are being pushed out of where they live is those local governments.
Okay.
So to have a local government here in place that's doing the right things is super encouraging for people moving
Well,
here.
good. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like encouraging to hear it. I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, I do work for the city.
And frankly, like showing that off is a big part of it.
Oh, absolutely.
So you
Yep.
guys are freaking nailing it.
Well,
Tyler,
I
how long have we
appreciate
been
it.
going for? Hour-ish? 47. Well, we're about wrapped up. Where can people find all of these different resources for the city of Tampa, and how can they follow along the Grime Fighter show?
Yeah, so tampa.gov is our main website where there's just every resource you could think of is on our website somewhere. But then you can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, City of Tampa, and then Grime Fighters. We do post versions of that all over our socials, but we right now been housing them on our City of Tampa YouTube page. There is a playlist called Grime Fighters. But yeah, give us a follow, City of Tampa for sure.
And look forward to that new episode. Screen
Yeah.
cleaning.
Yeah,
And
it
it's
should.
not your back porch screens
No,
either.
no, no. It's not those screens. They're actually called bar screens. I don't
Oh.
know. I'm envisioning something, but also I don't want to like envision it and then be totally wrong.
I would almost guarantee whatever you envision is not going to be what you see
No,
tomorrow
for sure.
morning.
Yeah, no, it's good. Yeah, 10 a.m. Woo.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, the office
Bring your
did.
hazmat suit.
The office did tell me to just like work from home after that. Like, really, guys? You don't want
Take
me
the day off afterwards.
You don't want me to come back in? Are you sure? Are you sure you don't want me to come back in? Yeah, so
Oh my Lord.
it should be an experience.
Well, that'll be fun. Make sure to clean up after. Wash your hands.
Yeah, I hope that this isn't the first time I like throw up on camera. I don't know. We'll see.
It'll make for a good episode.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'm a
Well,
little
Hannah,
nervous.
thank you for doing the show.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
really
Thank you for
appreciate
having me. It was
a lot
super
of fun.
fun. Yeah.
All righty. Bye, everybody.
Bye.